Meet Smarty, the easiest to implement and most accurate address intelligence suite on the planet, offering you the #1 address verification service that securely processes billions of addresses daily. Easily integrate Smarty's reliable API to efficiently clean data, lower shipping costs, and ensure top-notch user experiences, all with legendary free support. See for yourself why people are simply bananas for Smarty.
Today to present, we have Berk Charlton, Smarty's Chief Product Officer with us. We're very excited to hear what you've got to share. So without further ado, Berk.
Thanks, Andrew. And for those of you who have come today, I'm glad that you're here, and I hope that it's education for you. About Smarty, just if you're not familiar with us, we have over 6,000 active customers. We do over 2.5 billion lookups a day for addressing and geocodes, and we have a full suite of products for address validation, rooftop geocoding, address autocomplete globally, and address data enrichment, which we'll talk a little bit about today. We also have global coverage. And one thing that we're noted for is blazingly fast lookup speeds. We're headquartered in Provo, Utah. Here's an old postcard, and here's kind of what it looks like right now. We've still got lots of snow in the mountains, and if you're ever out here skiing or something, there's 7 or 8 ski areas within about 45 minutes of us. Please give us a call and drop by. So one thing that we're noted for, and we're going to talk about today, is hyper-accurate geocoding. What does hyper-accurate geocoding mean? Well, it means that geocoding is accurate to the best possible level of accuracy, whether that means right on a building rooftop or a parcel if a building rooftop is not known or available. And right now, state of the art is 97% or thereabouts can be achieved. Some people do it through multiple vendors, and we're here to show you that is still possible with multiple vendors if you're willing for the time and inconvenience of it. But Smarty rooftop geocoding can do it in one pass with assuming a good, clean address base. Accurate geocoding is the foundation of understanding location accuracy and location risk. The Harvard Business Review did a piece as it relates to property and casualty insurance, and this is property and casualty is one of the vertical markets that we've been finding success in recent years. The quote there is slight imperfections in accuracy result in billions of dollars of inaccurately priced insurance policies. This is just one vertical out of many types of industries, but just for this one vertical, location accuracy was having a net detriment or lack of location accuracy of billions of dollars a year. And so there is real value in accurate geocodes across industries. Hyper-accurate geocoding now is in the cloud, and it used to be that in order to get this high level of geocoding accuracy, that you needed to be encumbered with large and hard to maintain on-premise systems. Just the data updates alone would result in many hours a month, making sure everything's coordinated. This can all be done now in software as a service in the cloud, and that's what Smarty specializes in. And there's a growing trend towards this. One of the bottlenecks that used to keep people from going to the cloud was speed. And right now, cloud-based API geocoding can actually be faster than on-premise. There's, for example, our Smarty rooftop geocoding has no practical limit to geocoding speed. It's only dependent upon the bandwidth of the end user, provider scalability, and of course, the faster you go, there's going to be different licenses that will accommodate that additional speed. It's not unusual, though, for some of our customers to achieve hundreds of millions of record lookups per hour. So in terms of comprehensive data, geocoding coverage is available now for virtually every postal and non-postal address in the United States. speaking of non-postals, this is one of Smarty's differentiators, and there's a few other geocoders out there that may have this, but we have coverage for over 21 million non-postal addresses. That's growing every day. An example out of one of those 21 million addresses is 2100 South Paducah, South or 2100 South 21st Street in Paducah, Kentucky. And I'm going to take you to our demo page and give you and show you what that looks like, and the response that we return for that. So, okay, and so the response that we have here on the right-hand side, you can see it. It's cleansed and geocoded at the rooftop level, and it said address is real but not present in the USPS data. And then we have a lot of details that we can give for any address. So let's have a look at this particular address. And so I'll cast this out to Google Map to the Google Maps tool. So as we zoom in, you can see this is a real. It looks like a commercial building, a school or something, but it is in fact a real address right on the building rooftop, and this is a non-postal address. So if you're using a geocoder that can only link to postal addresses, then you're not going to find this. But this is one of the strengths also of our address validation engine is that we have the ability to validate non-postal addresses. Data is collected from thousands of authoritative sources around the United States. It's a very proprietary of how we collect it and how we consolidate that data. One of the things that makes us somewhat unique and that you should be looking for if you are perhaps creating a product or selling to other end users is Smarty has the ability to provide flexible terms with our customers, resellers, and OEM partners. And this because of the data collection methodology that we use, that we're not beholden to some of the large data aggregators. Hyper-accurate geocoding should be the new normal. There are expectations now of new levels of accuracy. I remember back in the old days, I've been doing this a long time, about 30 years. I remember when zip+4 or zip9 geocoding they used to call that rooftop accuracy. Well, now of course we know that's not the case. That's quite a bit less than rooftop, but then parcel became a new normal, and then building rooftop became the new normal. And now a new normal is approaching for many addresses called sub-building. What's a sub-building? That is a multi-unit structure. I'm going to zoom in here on this box to show you that. And on these subunit structures now, we see that each of these structures here on the left-hand side are actually multi-tenant buildings divided up into apartments and condos. And here we're able to isolate them in the right part of the structure. Is this level of accuracy sub-building present for the whole country? No, but just like every other part of geocoding, it's getting more and more prevalent. My estimate is sub-building accuracy, where it's applicable, is present in now over 50% of the geocodes where it would apply. And this is a pretty exciting thing to think of for industries such as in logistics or delivery or in risk analysis, where the sub-building may actually be very important. Now let's going to talk about something called false positives. Accurate address validation, which is an integrated part of Smarty's geocoding, helps prevent false positive matches. So, question, what is a false positive geocode? Well, the answer is when you are told or indicated by a service or a product that a good geocode match has happened and the wrong geocode is returned. Now, I'm going to give you an example of a false geocode match. First of all, let's go to let's go to two addresses here. In fact, it's our headquarters here at Smarty, where I'm doing this webinar from, at 2335 South State Street in Provo, Utah, 84606, versus a plausible alias address, which is 2335 South Highway 89, because we are actually on Highway 89. It just happens in this section of 89 is called State Street. So let's try this in our favorite, the product I use for routing a lot on my phone, which is Google Maps. Let's see how they handle this. So for Google Maps, we've got 2335 South State Street, and in fact, Google Maps gets it right. They show us at 2335 South State Street in Provo, Utah, 84606. Now let's change that to 2335 South Highway 89, Provo, Utah, and I'm even going to type in the correct zip code, 84606. And if I hit return on that, it sends me with no warning that it may have gotten the wrong address. It sends me to 2335 US 89 in a nearby city called Springville, and which is miles away. Let's do a route here and just show you how far away that is. And it is in fact 4.4 miles away. And we didn't really get we didn't get any indication other than in the autocomplete they provided that this was not the correct address. If you're doing this in a high volume batch environment, and I'm picking on Google here because we all recognize it, but if you're doing this in a high volume batch environment, you may actually not know that there is an actual difference, or that you actually got a wrong location. We just were talking about false positives, and we got a question here about why do tools not seem to recognize 20% of a hospital or nursing home and give it a zip centroid when it can give an accurate lat long to 80% of the same place? I'm really not sure what tool you're referring to here, but in reality, when a suite number, for example, suites 101, 102 have the same lat long in reality, why do tools inconsistently give different lat longs to the same reality? If we don't have an actual differentiation, say within a nursing home or a hospital or something, what should happen is that will default to the location centroid of that building. So if we're talking about false positives, so in some cases, some geocodes, the suite number may throw it off. So in that's, if the suite number throws it off, then it may in fact give a zip centroid. In our case, we will do our best to match to the root address. So if you'd like more information about that, please contact me after the webinar, and I'll be happy to go into that. For most applications, it's better to have a non-match than a false positive. A wrong match and not be told that it's a wrong match is worse than getting a non-match. Integrated address validation is the key for removing false positive matches. In Smarty's case, in this, if we type in 2335 South Highway 89, we will in fact tell you that we didn't find a match to that. And that we believe is the behavior that we should be exhibiting on that. Leading edge geocoding solutions now should provide a unique and persistent location identifier for each address. An addressable location is distinguished from a street address. So for example, you may have multiple street addresses that could change over time, or maybe different addresses on the same one. I'll give you an example of that in a minute. Addresses do change over time. Street names change, city names change, zip codes change. The same location can also have multiple valid addresses. an alias address. We've seen this a lot in the last 30, 40 years with Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, which will frequently be a valid address range on another street that may be called, called Maple Street or Main Street. Both of those need to match, and both of those, the address on both of those can have the same address key that references both of them. A persistent unique key, like Smarty key in the US, can reference virtually every known addressable location, and the identifier for those changing addresses remains stable over time. I'm going to give you an address here that's local to us. There's a UPS store. The official address is 223 West, 2130 North in Provo, Utah. That's the primary address. The Smarty key, you can see it right there, ends with 650. 223 West Cougar Boulevard also works for this address. It's called an alias address. Same Smarty key. 223 West Bulldog Boulevard. It's a former address, still recognized by the USPS, or should be. We give it the same Smarty key. The latitude and longitude are the same. The building rooftop accuracy is the same. And this particular address doesn't change, but it's gone through multiple transformations, and each one of these addresses will in fact reference the same location. That is one very, very simple example of how a unique persistent key for Smarty key will help. Now, a really hot trend right now, and this is as we look into the geocoding trends, is the ability to link other data sources now to the unique identifier. Incoming data links to a unique address has advantages. It prevents having to do real-time spatial processing, which is slow and computationally expensive. For example, those of you who come from a GIS background, doing point and polygon on complex spatial data sets is very, very slow and requires a lot of very expensive hardware. The high speed and low overhead with using a unique key matching allows for very fast scenarios to be performed over and over again on many millions of addresses. And the analysis is always performed at the address level. When you're linking to a unique identifier, for example, here's how it works. You send in an address to the Smarty Rooftop geocoder. It returns you a unique key. Then that unique key can be linked to many, many other data sets that have been pre-coded. It's what I call a simple stupid match. It's just a key code to key code match, and extremely fast and simple. We are feeding this information using Smarty address list. It's our master address list. It's over 220 million records, including non-postals and aliases that cover the United States. It's updated monthly, and every address has a unique, persistent Smarty key. And it's the data foundation for our rooftop geocoding and for our address validation. Over 97% accurate to building, rooftop, and parcel. And we're linked data sets can now be linked by us. We're doing it internally with our address enrichment product, and you can do it also with your spatial data sets. For example, if you were an insurance company, you had rating territories, or if you have a retailer with trade areas, these can be linked ahead of time. And instead of doing a real-time spatial lookup, you can do just a Smarty key lookup. This is catching on across the industry. We've seen more and more large companies doing it. Here's a unique address key example using our recently released property data. The Smarty key for 56 Union Avenue in Somerville, New Jersey. Here's the Smarty key 325.023.201, and then we're able to link over 300 different property data values or attributes for that particular property. For example, the improvement value, the total assessed value, the last update, et cetera, et cetera. All of this data is now available through Smarty, but you can link your own data to it as well using our Smarty key. And today's discussion has mostly been about US geocoding. We also have coverage for 245 international countries and territories, global rooftop building and street level accuracy depending on the country and the maturity of their coverage. And it's also backed by best-in-class international address verification and autocomplete products. That is the official end of the presentation, and now we will have some questions.
Great, thank you, Berk. One of the questions that came up is about the Smarty key. So Smarty key is currently added to some of our APIs, but one person would like to know when it will be added to the US Street API.
Currently, Smarty key is available with our US Rooftop Geocoding API, and you can get that. I mean, so that's how it's available. A lot of the data sets that are returned by returning a Smarty key with our address enrichment API require a rooftop geocoding if you were going to get that level of accuracy. So currently, Smarty key is available only within either our rooftop geocoding product or with our master address list products. Good question. Thank you.
Excellent. Now, if someone wants to try out our geocoding, as you showed, you can go right to Smarty's website to test, a single address. But if someone wants to test those APIs, what would you suggest for them?
If we have free trials available for 300 address validation lookups. If you want a free trial right now for the rooftop geocoding, contact one of our sales reps and we'll make that available to you. So go to smarty.com. You can try it out all day long on our demo site. We have both the US address validation single lookup tool and this geocoding tool will return geocoding lookups. You can use that interactively as much as you want. If you want to try something that you hook up to your API for geocoding, contact one of our sales reps and we'll make a free trial available to you. If you want to use address validation, then you can sign up for that completely person-free online.
Okay. One person says, I don't see the rooftop geocode API in the SDK documentation.
Good point. The rooftop geocoder is an extension of our street address API. So if you want to look at what the API looks like, go to our street address API. I realize this is an oversight. We're going to get it fixed, but right now the workaround is fairly easy, and you can go to the street address API and we'll have full geocoding capability there as well to try it out.
Excellent. And then one other thing to point out, if you visit smarty.com, in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little chat bubble. Our support team manages that. It's not managed by AI or anything. It's real people that are there ready to answer any questions you may have if you're testing or implementing. If you have questions with the documentation, which typically people don't have a whole lot of, you can hit that at any time on any page. So I'd encourage you to check those out. Great.
Thank you very much for everybody. Okay.
Have a great day.